Good evening. This is John Warren, publisher of the San Diego Voice and Viewpoint newspaper, coming to you with our program from the desk of the editor. Each week, we try to give you this opportunity to share your opinions and comments because the theme for the Voice and Viewpoint is that a people without a voice cannot be heard. As you know, the Voice and Viewpoint is San Diego's oldest and only African American publication. It is visible in hard copies in 89 zip codes, 17 cities, unincorporated areas of the county. It's available online. It's distributed in our churches and senior centers. It is also available in retail outlets such as 7-Eleven and over-the-counter sales and newsstands. And so we encourage you to pick up a copy. We encourage you to share your voice and your viewpoint with us. We have a lot going on right now. So tonight we're having an open mic. And along with our open mic, we are fortunate to have the Chief Strategy Officer, Mr. Chris Wilson, from the United Domestic Workers. Chris has a very long history in San Diego. He's done a whole bunch of things from the Alliance to working with PACs and being community organizer. We always go back to his time at USD. And so we are excited that he is involved in this massive struggle that we have going statewide to get our people involved in this November 4th special election as a piece of legislation that the governor calls Election Rigging Response Act, coming against what's being done in Texas and what's being done in a number of other states as the president tries to put pressure on governors to redistrict something that's never happened other than doing the census that comes every 10 years under the Constitution. And so now we're involved in a major change. And so I'd like to yield a moment to our co-host here, Dr. Leonard Thompson III, before we get into hearing from our guests.
Well, very excited to have our guests here today. This is going to be a great conversation, so we're just going to hop right on into it and turn it back over to you, Dr. Warren, and welcome to our guests.
Well, I'm very excited, and I want to say that Chris has joined an outstanding legacy group here in San Diego, the United Domestic Workers. As we were talking, we go way back to the beginning when M. Samaji and Fahari first started this, and this organization has grown to over 200,000 caregivers and people that are not only involved on the ground, hands-on, but also have vision and foresight in terms of safeguarding their future and their jobs and the things that they're most concerned about. And so I don't want to spend a lot of our time. We will have Mr. Chris Wilson back here with us additional times, but tonight we want to give him a chance to talk about the UDW position on Proposition 50, and we're going to devote our next 2 weeks to discussing this and trying to get people out to vote. And so, Chris, you take it from there. We'll pick up whatever you leave over. And people who want to call in, you can call in at 858-251-6111, 858-251-6111. You can follow us on godradio1.com, and we also have a link for Facebook. And so there are a lot of ways for you to get involved with what's going on tonight. And we value really making use of this time. Mr. Wilson.
Well, I'm happy to be here. This has been a long time coming, Dr. Warren. You've invited me many times.
Mm-hmm.
Schedules haven't matched up. Breaks have been put on and all sorts of obstacles. But I'm happy to be here with you tonight. And I want to say thank you and take just a moment to say thank you because you gave me a chance in San Diego when nobody else would. You allowed me to intern with the Gold Coast Classic.
Oh, yes.
For 2 years. You remember that
Yes.
first year?
Yes, okay.
And you had me running all over the city. You had me putting golf tournaments together. You had me doing stuff I had never done. But you gave me a chance to either succeed big or fail. And in failing sometimes, you said, listen, we're learning lessons together.
Mm.
And so I want to say thank you for me, but thank you for San Diego. Because,
Well, thank you.
you know, when I think back 20 years ago, you were bringing culture to San Diego, culture that we needed
Yes.
as a black community. You were bringing HBCUs to town, but it wasn't just about a football game. It was about college experiences. It was about bringing high school and middle school kids to talk to these college players and these cheerleaders and the bands. You
And
were
we
bringing-
made them let us play at Torrey Pines when they didn't want to.
Exactly, exactly. And you were putting black people in places where they weren't normally seen or allowed to be in San Diego. And so when I think back, wow, what a joy it was during
It was
those
fun,
times.
yes.
Right. And then I also want to thank Dr. Leonard Thompson III because we met 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And you had every reason to turn your back and walk out of University of San Diego. And you gave me a chance. You said, we're going to stay.
Yeah.
We're going to stay. We're going to do this for you because you know who you are and you know who we are.
Yeah.
And you didn't walk out of University of San Diego that night. And we had a very good concert. We had local performers. We had headlining performers. But you gave me and the Black Student Union a chance to shine and do something special. And that tradition lasted, for about 10, 12 years. But you didn't walk out. You didn't quit on your people.
Yes, sir.
And we've been connected at the hip, so to speak, ever since.
Ever since.
This is my
Yeah.
brother from another mother, and
Yeah.
love and respect you. And I'm really happy to be here, and I'm sitting here with pride and joy to be here with Dr. Warren, who gave me a shot in San Diego when nobody else would, and with my brother Leonard, who believed and trusted in me just from our very first conversation.
Amen.
Prop 50. How do we get here? How do we get here?
Let's thank Texas.
Thank you, Texas, for another fun time. But I worked really hard in 2007, 2008, around the Independent Redistricting Commission work,
Right.
and with the 2010 census, and then with the first Public Redistricting Commission back then. And so I believe strongly in the public redistricting process that we have in California. However, it pains me to see we have leaders in Washington and leaders in Texas, and even some leaders in California who think that it's okay to cheat the people and then complain about it when the people fight back. And Prop
Yep.
50 is that. We're fighting back against attempts to cheat the people out of fair representation and cheat the people out of the power that we have to select who gets represented or who is representing us in Washington, D.C. And so I am on the side, as a representative of UDW and in my personal position, I'm on the side of we are where we are right now, and we have to do whatever we can to push back on the power that be, who would have us voiceless and faceless, who would have people of color, poor people, working families, labor members, voiceless in the process of governing this country. And so we have to do whatever we can from California's perspective to sort of keep a balance on the scales. We're not putting our finger on the scales. We're trying to rebalance the scales.
Right.
Because what Texas did was put their finger on the scale.
Yes.
And I've talked to many people, and I can tell you this is not a power grab by Gavin Newsom. This is not a power grab by California Democrats. This is the state of California standing lockstep together to say, we're going to do what it takes to make the system fair. And sometimes fair means fighting fire with fire. And that's what Prop 50 is trying to do. And so I'm happy to sit here with you and talk about Prop 50 and talk about UDW, United Domestic Workers' support of Prop 50 and what we're doing across California to get people the truth and to turn them out to vote and convince them that a vote yes on 50 is a vote for democracy.
Well, let's tell people a couple of background things, Chris, that I think are so important. At the breakfast that you had for pastors this past Saturday, Secretary of State Dr. Shirley Weber was there. And I reminded people that while she was in the assembly, she was one of the people that brought legislation that allows you to vote even if you have a past jail record. And so we have to remind people that if you've been on parole, if you're on parole, probation, or in a county jail, you have a right to register and vote. The only time you can't vote if you are a felon in a federal prison, then you cannot vote. You can register right up to November 4th and vote on election day. The difference is that when you register and do it that way, you're voting what they call a provisional ballot, where they seal your ballot and then they will take a look later to see if you are in compliance in terms of being a registered voter. So that part is in very important. I need people to understand what's at stake here. California has 52 congressional seats. It's one of the biggest in the country. And 12 of those belong to Republicans. One of them in particular to Darrell Issa, who sits in East County. And the whole idea is to get at least 5 of these Republican seats to change over and flip them to Democrats so that they will offset the 5 seats that Governor Abbott forced people to create in Texas. What they did in Texas is they took Sheila Jackson Lee's position after she died, and there was another congressman who had been a mayor, well-known. He was in Congress. He died, and so they took those 2 positions and merged and messed with those numbers. It looks like Al Green and Jasmine Crockett will be safe. But Trump since then has gone after Utah and at least 4 other states trying to get them to do the same thing. Now, what the governor did here was he made it clear it's a temporary measure. It's a temporary measure in that we are interrupting the redistricting cycle through 2030, I believe, so that we can vote in November. There's only one item on the ballot. That item is a yes or no on Prop 50. The official name of Prop 50 is the Election Rigging Response Act. But it ain't going to say all of that, I don't think, on the ballot. The ballots are mailed out. The Secretary of State reminded us, and we're being reminded, we're reminding people in a voice that you need to vote early. If you got your ballot, fill it out, get it in. You can mail it. In our case, my wife and I, we drive to the Register of Voters and hand it to the people because we want to be sure. Because we expect all kinds of rigging to take place in the post office, losing stuff, not seeing it, not postmarking it, anything to mess with the count. And we must get this proposition passed, folks. It's a must. Because if you got friends in other cities and places, you need to make sure they register and vote. You know, on the 18th, which is 2 weeks away, it's estimated that at least 14 million people are going to do a second No King's Day. But it's critical that those 14 million people, if they were 14 million registered voters, then we know we could flip the House. Why is it so important? Republicans on the hold the House by about 3 votes at this point. And if you want to see how serious it is, just look at what Mike Johnson, the Speaker, is doing to the Latino sister from Arizona who took her father's seat in a special election. She has committed herself to be the 218th vote on a discharge petition, and they're staying out of session because once she signs it, they got to bring the Epstein stuff to a vote. And so I just think what you all are doing at UDW is so important because you got people on the ground that are talking to folks, their patients, their clients, their neighbors, and everyone. Register, register, register. If in doubt, register. If you don't like it, register and vote yes. Do it for your neighbors, if not for yourself. This is not the time to be selfish.
True. We have to win this. We're talking about the future, not just the future of our democracy, but the future of the freedoms that we enjoy, the freedoms we take for granted. We know that threats are being made every day to people's freedoms. Threats are being made every day to people's ability to earn money for their families and their ability to protect their families from harm, whether they are immigrant families or families of, labor members, working class families, or they're, families who depend on federal assistance like SNAP or what we used to call when I was growing up food stamps.
Yep.
Medical and health care, elderly folks who depend on Medicare and Medicaid, children who depend on Medicare and Medicaid, folks stand to lose a lot that help them live a good, or at least live a better life. Because if they lose these benefits, they will be, hard put to replace the money and the funding that's being cut in Washington, D.C. And so not only do we have to win this so that we can stop an authoritarian from cementing power, we need to win this so that the people who we love and live next door to and help every day can still have the life that they built, or have a life that they can build. And so we're looking towards the future of UDW and saying this has to stop today. And so we have to win. We have to win. California is the only state that can balance what Texas did.
That's true.
California is the only state that can do it. And so if California can't do it, there is no hope for the rest of the country to come out and make a difference.
And our three states with the largest congressional delegations are California, Texas, and New York. They have, and just to show how important it is, the size of your delegation and the vote, when the redistricting is, when the census is done every 10 years, the purpose of the census in the Constitution is to equally divide the revenue that comes from taxation among the American people. And so what we have seen happen is that Congress fixed the number of seats, 435 in the House, so that number can't go up. So that means that if people in New Hampshire or say New Jersey move south because it's too cold, then New Jersey will lose numbers in the census, and if they move to Florida and the number of people go up in Florida, then Florida can gain a seat. So the seat moves, but the number doesn't change. And that's why we're so important right here. We got 12 Republicans holding seats, and we need a minimum of 5 of those. And so if we register and vote, we can change that. But most of us don't understand the concept of gerrymandering, which is drawing a boundary so that you only let certain people in. I like to give this example to make the point. Let's take the Far East County, and you take that part of the supervisorial district that includes Spring Valley, okay, because we have a lot of people in Spring Valley, El Cajon. We have a lot of ethnic people there, blacks, Latinos, Chaldeans. Well, if we do the gerrymandering numbers right, all those people could vote at one time, and they would never be enough to offset the rest of that district. Out to Jacumba, De Acero, all of those places that go out further, the good old boys are going to vote. And we could never change that. So that's what gerrymandering is doing here, is changing the numbers. And the governor, in a press thing I participated in with him yesterday, made it very clear that this is a temporary act because California has a redistricting commission that it created to draw the boundaries, because in the old days, the boundaries were, I remember Congressman Hawkins, when he first brought me to California, he told me how they would get in the back room at FATS up in Sacramento, and they would redraw the boundaries on a tablecloth while everybody was smoking cigars, deciding who was going to go where. And that's how Watts got a black member, because Hawkins was scheduled to be the next speaker, and Unruh and them were not ready for a black man then. And so they created that district in Watts, and they never put his picture on a poster because he looked like Elmer Fudd. He looked like he was white, but he was from Shreveport, Louisiana. And so I just have to throw all of this so we can understand how important this is, that it's not about me or you. And somebody was saying, well, I don't like the way this was done, so I'm not going to show. You better get your butt out there and vote.
None of us, look, I don't think anybody who is in favor of what's happening now wanted to do this. I don't speak for the governor. I don't speak for the legislature. I don't think anybody wanted to do this. But if we want to stop what's going on,
this is the only way.
We have to stop, and we have to do it now. Because, as I said on Saturday, if we don't get this done, we might not see an election in 2028. we might not have a chance to change the power dynamic. We might not have a chance to take back the House. Because in 10 months of this year, you know, I'm friends with lots of people, and some of them actually do research. And I'm part of a lot of groups, and they all do research. And, you know, anywhere from 47 to 55% in the first 10 months of this year, 47 to 55% of Project 2025 was implemented.
Mhm.
If they got to 55% at the high range or 47% at the low range, let's say 55%, in 10 months, that means we won't get through 2026
That's the
without it
plan.
being fully implemented, which means by 2028, we will be under authoritarian rule.
Yes.
Well, you know, former President Kamala Harris made a point when she was introducing her book, The 107 Days, and I recommend the read. She reminded people that this was decades in the making, because I remember in 2016, August of 2016, is when the Heritage Foundation put the first plan out for Trump for 2020 to make things go where they were supposed to. Okay, so they've been working on this for quite some time. I have an editorial this week that the title of it is The Destruction of America. And I say that we are witnessing in real time what happened to Rome over a period of time, because 20-some great civilizations have collapsed from within. The big difference for us is that makes things different from Reconstruction and how they got with Andrew Johnson then and kicked us out. You know, we held over 2,000 positions following the Civil War. And by 1901, all those were gone, including my great uncle, who was first black congressman from North Carolina. South Carolina gave us the first superintendent of public instruction. Mississippi gave us 2 black U.S. senators. And the way we're going now with woke and DEI wars and a war on affirmative action, all of these things are slated to be eliminated. Books are being rewritten. Colleges are under pressure to drop programs. And everything is following a playbook that, in many respects, represents what happened in Russia with the Bolshevik Revolution, and following then, we saw Khrushchev when he fell out of grace afterwards, completely removed from all the history of Russia. It's like he was never there, no sign that he was ever there. Okay, and now we have this effort taking place here, and we have a chance to stop it. And let's not forget that Hitler's playbook for what he did in Germany really came from America. Mm-hmm. He looked at what we had done in terms of, Jim Crow and segregation, hope, and he just improved upon it. And so we can no longer. I like what the last poet said when they said the revolution will not be televised. You will not catch it on TV with fried chicken hanging from your mouth, okay? Because you ain't going to have time to get that KFC. They're going to be gone by then, and they're moving in on us. And so we have to awaken people, because Frantz Fanon in Wretched of the Earth keep making the point, a black Algerian French psychologist made the point that when people are oppressed, most of the time, if they can still breathe, they won't do anything. It's only when their face is put down in the ground and the boots on the back of their head, and they have to struggle to breathe, to live, will they struggle. And we know that nothing like a crisis unites people. Mm-hmm. We haven't been united yet because we're still all in our own little personal silos. Mm-hmm. And so we need to pull people out. I want to again commend UDW for what it's doing. Dr. Thompson.
So, Mr. Wilson, let me ask you this question.
Mr. Wilson?
Yeah, I got it, I'm
Nah.
looking for him. So, Chris, let me just ask you this question. California has made a very bold move to say that we're going to stand against this takeover. Are there any other states that are going to follow or have planned to follow Texas? And are there any other Democratic states that are also going to try to follow what California is doing?
Well, look, we know that the President of the United States put pressure on more than Texas. Mm-hmm. We know that Ohio is looking into this. We know that Missouri is, I think Missouri is moving already. Utah, and other states that are led by GOP elected governors and have GOP majority state legislatures, they are trying to move. In terms of states that are trying to balance that out, there aren't many states who can do anything. People are looking to California to see what happens here.
Okay.
So, if we can win this in California, it might embolden some other leaders from the Democratic side to take some actions to ensure that the balance is held. And when I say balance, I don't mean like equal numbers, but right now the Republicans have a 6-seat majority, right? I think it might go down to 5 when Grijalva's sworn in.
Today, yep.
If she gets sworn in, because as you said, Speaker Johnson is holding
She got to
off
get sworn in.
on swearing her in because she says she would be that 218th vote. So we're saying the process of stealing seats has to stop. The process of midterm redistricting has to stop. Redistricting for the purpose of padding your lead is unfair, immoral, and I would say illegal, by past practices. It's gerrymandering to the nth degree. And Prop 50 is California's opportunity to say, we're going to fight back as hard against your takeover as you are fighting to take over. None of us, I think, sitting around this table would do this under any other circumstance. None of us would support it under any other circumstance. But you can't come to a two-fisted fight with one arm.
I want to give
They can't tie our hand behind our back and then accuse us of, not fighting fair. We're fighting with all the power we have because this is the moment.
I like to always throw history into it because it helps us in many respects. Let's look at 3 states right now: New York, New Jersey, and Virginia. Holcomb wants to jump into this battle like California, but she's on the ballot in a state where we're not quite sure how it could go. We need her to win because she's a Democratic governor. We need Mikey to win in New Jersey because she's a Democratic candidate running for governor, okay? And we need Abigail to win in Virginia because she's a Democratic. Mikey and Abigail are members of Congress that are Democrats running for governor. So those positions are crucial. And if we can hold those states, then that's going to make a very important difference for us. Let me take it a step further. I listened to the Congresswoman-elect from Arizona, and they're trying to decide what they want to do next. And when I was listening to them, I said to my wife, it's unfortunate that her lawyers haven't done their homework. Powell v. McCormick was your classic example of what's going on. When the Congress expelled Adam Clayton Powell and stripped him, and the people of Harlem sent him back to Congress in a special election, the House of Representatives under McCormick sued, and the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Powell. And this was like after he was really kicked out. So now this is very important because in 1960 there was a Supreme Court decision called Reynolds v. Sims, and it was known as one man, one vote. And it said that electoral districts could not be drawn based on the voter eligibility, but it had to be drawn based on counting each person. One man, one vote. That's why Trump is trying to change the census, exclude people who are not U.S. citizens, and all of these maneuvers are to give him a chance to mess with the whole scenario. We need to wake up. In the scriptures we're told, greater is he that is with us than he that is in the world. We have more people in our category than they do. The difference is they are small in number, but they are persistent. And as far as they're concerned, they're fighting for their lives because Roger Redneck can't stand to see the browning of America. It's just too many of y'all. You're just taking over. And so they're willing to sacrifice democracy to grab little children in the middle of the night with mass people repelling down the side of buildings, spray paint pastors while they are praying, snatch people off the street and lock them up, grab mayors, elected officials, anyone with the understanding that the Supreme Court is in our pocket, the Justice Department is in our pocket. And so the one thing we have left to hold on to is a vote. And I like to remind us that on May 17th, 1957, Martin Luther King gave a speech in Washington before some Jewish community people. A matter of fact, it was on the mall. And in the speech, he made this plea, and I keep using it. He says, give us the vote, and we will elect the people that will change the laws for us. Folks, we got the vote. We got the Voting Rights Act. We got all kinds of powers here, even though in 2013, under the Shelby case, they stripped the Voting Rights Act of some of the oversight. They can't stop us from voting. And I'm so proud that the last time we had an election in San Diego, I saw people standing in line waiting to vote. And that's going to happen all over this country. And we got to get people out. And I want us to get that, to read that special election bulletin that we got in the mail just before the ballot, because it tells us things we can and can't do. Because you don't want to break any laws, and they are bringing troops in every situation they can to intimidate people while they're waiting in line to vote.
Well, let's take that threat away, because in California, every registered voter gets mailed a ballot.
That's right.
So you don't even have to stand in line. You can vote from the comfort of your home.
That's right.
Put that ballot back in that return envelope,
That's
seal
right.
it up, sign it, and ship it back off.
Yes,
you don't
you
even
can.
have to go out to a polling location. You don't have to wait until November 4th. I got my ballot on Saturday.
And you can track your ballot after you mail it.
That's right. I got my ballot on Saturday. I mailed it back. I have voted. Now, whatever happens after you mail your ballot, your vote's going to be counted.
That's right.
They can intimidate all they want. They can show up at the polls and do everything they want. But if we not there because we already mailed our ballot, the joke is on them.
That's right.
So, folks, check your mail.
Yes.
Don't throw your mail away. It's not junk mail. There is a special election. What is a special election? It's an election that is held outside of regularly scheduled election cycles.
All you need to do
Why
is
is it
open
special?
it and mark yes. It's only one question on the
That's
ballot.
right. It's one question on the ballot. It's a special issue, so they called a special election, so we could get the voters to answer the question now and not wait until June of next year when the next state election is scheduled.
That's
Because
right.
we need to fix this now. We need to stop this craziness now.
So Chris, as you've been involved in this fight, they say boots on the ground. What are some of the recommendations of helping to get the word out? I know that you did a big push on Saturday to get pastors and churches in line. What other organizations are we grabbing to get into this fight, or we're recommending to tap into UDW to get into the fight?
So we started with the breakfast for pastors on Sunday because we know that in the black community, many folks attend church. Many folks, even if it's bedside Baptist, you watching the pastor on, TV or the internet, or you listening. We know that there are black people who get their information from the church. That pastors are trusted messengers, and so we implored the pastors to not be silent on this issue. We are also reaching out to community organizations who are trusted messengers and saying, hey, if you're going door to door during this time frame, why don't you also talk about Prop 50? If you're so inclined to do so and you have the legal coverage to do it. So we're not putting people in danger by asking them to have a political message. We are saying groups who are trusted messengers who have a history of doing this, get out the vote work, to get out there and do just that. Tell our people there's a special election. Tell them it's important. Tell them the pros and the cons if you have to. And if you have the type of organization that can recommend a vote yes, because we have to stop this madness now. And then we're also working with other labor organizations. We're working with the campaign itself, the Prop 50 campaign. We've been in communication with the Prop 50 campaign. because we need to make sure that everybody's doing their part and pulling the load, because this is a heavy lift. There's no guarantee that
right.
this is going to pass.
Yeah.
There are no guarantees in voting. And so we need every vote. We need every vote. We need every voter. We need every household. We need every community. We need every city. We need everybody to be getting the vote out. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to your neighbors.
One of the things that I thought was, that I learned, because, I heard about Yes on 50 and why we need to do it. But what went over my head until last Saturday was that this is not a permanent redistricting.
Right.
And I thought that was really important, because some people say, well, they're just trying to change history. No, they're literally trying to, or not trying, the purpose is to make the elections fair.
Right.
Let's be democratic about things and not let's bully people into saying that we're going to get a bigger hand.
Well, let's be clear.
Yeah.
This is temporary. This is a temporary fix. In 2030, the Citizens Redistricting Commission will be re-empaneled to begin the work of the redistricting process that starts officially after the census in 2030. But the process of picking that panel starts ahead of that. And they will draw the lines in 2031 that will be in place for the next 10 years. This is a temporary solution to stop the madness
Well, let's
we're
have
seeing in the
people.
political process.
Let's have people understand something too, because they miss this. When we have redistricting following the census, in San Diego County, we have two different redistricting committees, because the city is a charter city and the county is a charter county. So there's a redistricting commission for the city, which is separate from the redistricting committee for the county. The thing about this is, it's a special election. It just supersedes all of that, and it's just a simple yes or no vote. And we need a yes vote.
And it's only for congressional seats. I
That's
want to
it.
point that out.
Only congressional.
No other seats, no other districts,
Are involved.
no other elected positions are involved in Prop 50. It is
Wow.
only geared towards congressional districts and congressional seats in electing people to go to Washington, D.C.
That's
It
another
doesn't
nugget.
change anything else.
Yeah, that's another nugget I don't think a lot of people know. Or that came that is only for congressional seats.
Yeah, it is only congressional. And like I said at the beginning, we have 52 seats. 12 of them are Republican. Marty Wolf, a city council member, she's already declared and is campaigning against Darrell Issa because his seat is the one seat in this area that we want. And he has been a strong Trump supporter. And so we need to flip that one and at least 4 more up north. And if we get more than 5, that's good. Okay?
And,
That'll make a difference.
I want to tell some history too, because in San Diego, we've been doing work to try to flip that district for many cycles.
Yes, we
and
have.
In the other 4 districts that have been redrawn, grassroots organizations, political organizations have been doing the work to flip those districts as well. So this isn't like we're taking this opportunity. No, we've been trying to flip these districts for over a decade.
Well, remember why we failed in the past. Because Duncan Hunter had his son come, and after they redrew the boundaries with the 2020 election, Darrell Issa was pushed out up north, and he agreed to come south, and the good old boys agreed if they would take the deal, if they could get Darrell into the picture, and that's what they did. And so that's how we got him. So everybody's making deals except the poor people. Poor people are ones that are working hard to do more with less, while others vote and sit back and figure out what they're going to do to them next.
That's right. That's right.
So as this is a statewide campaign, with UDW, are they only focusing on San Diego, or do they have a wider range?
United Domestic Workers has members all over California, and we have our member-to-member program, which is talking to our members all over California, because we need that vote from all over California. This is not a San Diego issue. This is a California issue.
Right.
And then we are also partnering with other labor unions all over California, and then we are helping community organizations throughout California also get the word out to their base, and then we're doing radio in Southern California, San Diego, and the Inland Empire. We're doing print. Like, this is an all hands on deck moment. We can't just focus on hometown.
Right.
We can't just focus on hometown. One city ain't going to win this, and one city ain't going to lose it. So UDW is taking a whole state approach and partnering with people across California.
Okay. Yeah, and one of the things about it is that I hear you say labor and different labor unions. I'm gonna ask this question.
Be careful now. I'm new.
No, I'm just saying.
I know. I'm saying I'm new to UDW.
I got you. I got you.
Yes.
No, I was gonna say, from a labor perspective, how do they see losing these seats and not gaining these seats will actually affect the livelihood of all of them?
You got a question, Dr. Warren?
I can answer that
I
question.
can't. So you're asking me to speak for all of labor, and I wouldn't come in here and speak for all black people. So I'm not going to speak for all
Well,
of
let
labor.
me-
I can tell you about UDW members and how
Okay.
they will be impacted.
That's okay. That's
Okay.
And then I'll answer the rest of the
yeah.
question.
So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because he ain't got a boss. So I told you be careful.
Okay.
Our members are deeply impacted by what's going on because our members are some of the lowest paid union workers in the state, and their benefit, their compensation, their benefits, their ability to take care of their families comes through federal funding for the most part. And so our members are deeply impacted. And this issue cuts to the heart of why we need to win. Because as you said, Dr. Warren, it's the poor people who don't ever have a seat at the table. It's the poor people who bear the brunt and the cost. So, the tax breaks and the windfall that billionaires got from H.R. 1, the big bad bill, came on the backs of poor people, comes on the backs of our members. We're talking about cuts to SNAP, or as I said earlier, food stamps. We're talking about cuts to child nutrition programs. We're talking about cuts to school lunch programs. We're talking about cuts to Medicaid and Medicare. And all of these things impact our members. And so, your question about how this impacts labor, well, that's for each labor union to decide how it impacts their members. But we've talked at UDW, and it impacts our members greatly. And so for our members, it was an easy question to endorse this. It was easy. We got to stop this craziness now because we might not get a chance to stop it later.
Well, I'm going to add to this, okay? I have, 40 years ago, I trained as a labor lawyer. I have been pro-labor for the past 60 years. And one of the things that's happened is I like for people to understand how labor is affected by the changes in administration. When we have a Republican administration, things like the National Labor Relations Board, which hears complaints, they stack that board with Republicans that are pro-business, and so they avoid giving decisions that are helpful to us. And so what we see Trump doing, consistent with that attitude, is he's trying to go after agencies like not only the Federal Reserve, the Federal Trade Commission. There is vacancies on the NLRB, and we want to stay away from litigating those cases in a Republican form of government because administratively they will rule against us. And so this is how labor is impacted, whether people be the United Auto Workers or Teamsters or, UDW or coal miners or CW, the Communication Workers of America. It doesn't matter. If you are among the working entity, you're going to be impacted with the Republican administration. We saw this the last time with Trump when in COVID, he didn't want to do anything. At the FDA, he had responsibility over the meatpacking plants that had COVID outbreaks that were tremendous. He didn't go in to do anything because they were more concerned business-wise to keep production going than they were about the loss of lives. And so we lost over 1.2 million people through this COVID thing. So these things we have to bring labor up to understand it's not just your union or your particular craft, it's across the board. And everybody gets impacted with it. You want to talk about filing EEOC complaints. Well, they've already rigged it so that in the past 40 years, the burden of proof has shifted from the defendant, which is the employer, to the plaintiff, which is the person bringing the grievance. And so when I hear black people saying, I want to sue for discrimination, I like to get them to pause and say, no, you need to do like white folks. You don't sue for discrimination. You sue for unfair labor practice. And the unfair labor practice gets the door open. Case in point, some 25 years ago, I had a situation of a black woman at UCSD who worked in a lab. She was the only black person in the lab. Everybody in the lab wore white gloves, and when they put her in the lab, they made her wear black gloves. Okay? That's not discrimination. That's unfair labor practice because you're being treated different than other people. And so we have to educate our community to these things. And I'm going to tell you a complaint that I've had with labor coming to San Diego, because I come from labor. And one of my complaints was in San Diego, and this doesn't involve UDW, but I asked of me and a whole bunch of other people I've seen over the years, that they had black folks in some instances as shop stewards, okay? But for the most part, when a complaint was filed, it didn't go anyplace because they had already cherry-picked the people that would present the least resistance, even though they look like us and held a position. This is why some 30 years ago, Robert Mack at General Dynamic went ballistic because he felt like he didn't have any repass. They were dogging him. He was a quiet, docile person, and he just snapped one day and pulled out his gun and started killing people. And still in jail, as far as I know. He got 25 to life, and they wouldn't let him out after 25 years. Mm-hmm. And so we need to just understand the extent to which there's an effort to rig the system against us.
And that's what we're facing. And look, I honestly, coming into labor, I told you I was new. Mm-hmm. And I'm so new that I'm a month into this job. Mm-hmm. But I can tell you this. Our members are the community members everybody else speaks of.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So there's no difference between a labor member and a community member. Mm-hmm. So the way this is going to impact community members is the way it impacts our members.
That's right.
The way this impacts our members is the way it impacts the community, mm-hmm. the communities we care about, mm-hmm. the communities who are already deeply impacted by unemployment,
yep.
deeply impacted by, the unhoused situation, deeply impacted by affordability or lack of affordability, mm-hmm. deeply impacted the inability to buy a home and credit and, mm-hmm. Loans and student debt, right? So I don't make a distinction so much between labor members and community members until it becomes something that I can say to a member that I can't say to a community member, yeah. right? And so I think we're all fighting for the community, mm-hmm. whether we're labor or community organizations
That's
or
right.
churches. Mm-hmm. This issue crosses all boundaries mm-hmm. because it's going to impact the same people we all care about. Yeah. And so we're asking all hands on deck. Mm-hmm. The ship is on fire, mm-hmm. and we ain't got nowhere else to go. So we got to put this fire out.
And if we are concerned about the next generation, this is a generational issue that if we don't win, if we don't get this just done and this through, we will find ourselves for generations suffering.
Well, let's just bring it even closer to San Diego home. I think it was yesterday there was a meeting at United Way talking about the number of people that are impacted here. If the items from the Big Ugly Bill are permitted to stand, if the Democrats lose what they're doing, health care, social services, cuts, SNAP, all of these things kick in. And the important thing is that as of next month is open enrollment in terms of insurance plans. Mm-hmm. Notice what the media is doing. The media is talking about health costs going up from the standpoint of talking about the Obama bill. That's not the name of the legislation. The name of it is the Affordable Care Act. And we know that when Congress was passing it, a survey was done. A bunch of good old redneck boys were asked, do you want Obamacare? Hell no. Do you want the Affordable Care Act? Oh, yes. Did you know that both of them are the same? Oh, no. And so what we're doing now, we are sitting people up using the wrong language, and that's like woke is like a code word to people. And so everybody who gets to vote doesn't look like us and doesn't care about us. Our copay is going to go through the roof. We already estimated 4 to 10 million people are going to be without insurance. You see, when the Affordable Care Act was first passed, a lot of people weren't in favor of it because they identified it with Obama. What they didn't understand was that the program had triggers in it, and the triggers kicked in over the next 3 to 5 years. So by the time the Republicans wanted to get rid of it, oh no, because now the people who were against it see that they are covered and they benefit from it. And so that's where we are. I want to give a salute to the Presby Foundation, to San Diego Foundation, and to Price Charities, because those groups came together in the past 2 weeks, committed $70 million to helping those members of our community that are going to be socially impacted. The food bank is gearing up to do more because the demand is up. And I'm proud to say that the Voice and Viewpoint in the pandemic was a cash contributor to the food bank, was a cash contributor to Feeding San Diego, was a cash contributor to the people who were volunteering to package the food for distribution. We gave stipends to the volunteers so that they could continue to work. And all of us have to dig deep now and see how we're going to help those among us that can't help themselves. Let's cut back KFC, McDonald's, Jack in the Box, your six-pack, Coke, Snickers, whoever you got to cut back, and look at how you can help somebody. The churches need to go back to establishing food pantries. Bayview is the only one I know that has an active one going right now. And we need to understand that there are more people that are food challenged among us than we know. Okay, some of us could afford to miss a few meals, all right? But there's a whole bunch of people that can't.
Only a hit dog holler. Don't be offended, people. He ain't talking about you if he ain't talking about you.
No. Don't put the shoe on if it don't fit. There you go. All right.
But, you know, that's very real. And that's what we're facing if we don't fight now. I remember growing up, we called them soup kitchens in Detroit.
Yep.
I remember growing up and having to go to the soup kitchen for one of our meals during the day. It was either lunch or dinner. Then I remember having my mom forcing us to volunteer. After we got in a better situation, she made us volunteer at the soup kitchen because when we needed it, that soup kitchen was there. And then, you know, I remember turkey giveaways, and my stepfather would run for the UAW to feed people on Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so we got to get back to those things, just like you said. We got to get back to taking care of our community, because if we don't, we know for sure now. You may have thought the man was going to help your neighbor back in the man is not there to help no more. No. The man is saying, screw you.
Yep.
And your family too.
Yep. Kill off another one.
We need to fight back and get back to a place where it's neighbor helping neighbor, but also that safety net service that the government is supposed to provide is there for people who need it. And if we don't pass Prop 50, y'all, we're going to lose our safety net services.
Yes, we will.
We're going to lose the thing that every resident should be able to depend on when they need it, which is the federal government to be there to lend a helping hand. We're going to lose that.
And so this time is not a time to have this as an afterthought. This must be the forethought of your mind. We're going to ask everybody to get your ballots, read your ballots. If you have any questions, there's so much information out there. But there's only one question. It's either yes or no. We're encouraging you to go yes on Prop 50. And the main reason is because of the fact that we're trying not just to level the playing field, but just make it fair again. You know what I'm saying? We cannot this, how I say, because I want some more and I want this, we're going to change the rules. Texas is in the same rule and platform as us. Every 10 years after the census, then we do redistricting. They decided to bypass all of that, and they said, we're going to do it right now because Trump said that he wanted it done. So California is not forgetting that. California is saying that we must level the playing field back and make elections fair again.
Well, let's remember the Constitution does not require anything other than a census every 10 years. Some people now are going to be moving to doing 5-year redistricting. They can do that. We have major court cases out of Alabama where redistricting areas were drawn that excluded black folks, went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of the people who were excluded. The legislature went back, Republican-led, redrew the boundaries again because the goal was to not just knock down that area, but to see what other areas they could knock down. And so there's where we are now. This is real. It's happening in real time. We got to get involved. If you didn't get a packet in the mail,
It's coming.
It's coming, and we have online the places that you can register. The whole schedule is there. You can go to the Register of Voters and register on the spot, and they call it provisional because they will put your ballot after you mark it in an envelope and seal it until after they verify address and everything when they're counting the absentee ballots, and they're counted much later than the ones that come in on election morning.
So a few key dates. Ballots have already been mailed. You
Right.
should be getting your ballot any day now if you've been registered to vote. The last day to register to vote and receive your ballot in the mail is October 20th.
Right.
If you register to vote before October 20th, you'll receive a ballot in the mail. After October 20th, you can still register to vote. We have same-day registration in California,
Right.
meaning you show up at a polling location or the voter registrar's office, you register to vote. As Dr. Warren said, they give you a provisional ballot. Once your registration is approved, they count your ballot. You can show up on election day.
That's
You
right.
can show up on November 4th to any polling location, any vote center, and register to vote. We recommend you do it early. Vote early so that whatever happens down the line, your
vote's
vote's not
counted.
impacted.
That's right.
Your ballot's turned in, your vote's going to be counted. And then another date I want to share is that ballot drop-off locations opened yesterday.
Yep.
Yep, they opened yesterday. So if you get your ballot and you don't trust mailing it back, you want to drop it off, go to sdvote.com, sdvote.com, and find a ballot drop-off location. There are
Man.
ballot drop-off locations all over the county.
Many outside our libraries like MLK and Breckenridge, a ballot drop-off box right there.
Well, I'm going to laugh and say this. Since I have got my ballot, I have voted, I have turned it in, I'm going to start a campaign that say, what you waiting for?
There you go.
Saying we need everybody to get it in. Don't wait and say I can do it tomorrow. I even said to my wife this morning, I said, did you fill out your ballot? And so now it's like, what you waiting for? I've said that to everybody. We need to challenge our neighbors, our friends, all people that are registered to vote and get their ballots in. And if they're not registered to vote and they're eligible to register to vote, then we got to say again, what are you waiting for? Get
Right.
into this fight. Let your voice be heard.
That's it. I want to thank you, Chris, for being with us. We're going to have you back. We're going to stay on this the next 2 or 3 weeks. So we don't want some of y'all to tune out because you don't want to hear it. It's not the only thing we're going to discuss, but we're going to discuss this item. And we got more going on. We've got this big protest coming up. No King's Day. We got to be
October
out there
18th.
to participate in that. And we're trying to get people to register. Please pick up or go online and read my editorial in Voice and Viewpoint this week on the destruction of America in real time so that you can see what is being done to us today and how it parallels. The only difference between us and Rome, it took Rome 200 years to fall. We are fortunate that we have social media in real time so we can watch what's happening and respond to it before it all gets in place. And that's what we've got to do right now is get on a job. We thank you for listening. You can still follow this, share it with a neighbor. It's archived, both in terms of GOD Radio, Voice of Viewpoint website, and just spread the word. Spread the word.
Tell a friend,
Thank
tell
you.
a family member. Social pressure is the best pressure to get people
There
to
you
vote.
go.
And this is from the desk of the editor with Dr. John Warren with our special guest, Mr. Christopher Wilson from UDW. Thank you so much, and y'all have a good night.
Good night.